Hi and welcome to the Kobe and Kukwa podcast. It is good to have everyone here back with us once again. I hope everyone's been doing great. I hope you've had a great week. I hope you've been doing everything that you need to do and you've had loads of testimonies and loads of great things happening to you. I'm not going to try and go off the subject, but we're going to start off with the question of the week. And
actually, so before we start that, the usuals, if you haven't subscribed to the channel,
yes.
Take a pause, take a minute, go subscribe, and also share the video when you watch it if you're blessed by it, so that other people can be blessed as well. I think we've done a great job so far, and we can't wait to reach our first target.
Yes.
So share, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. And that brings us to today's question, which is, how do I block out men that I know are not good for me or add no value to me? And the person says into brackets, easier said than done. So basically, how do you block out men that you know are not good for you? Because some people entertain it.
Yeah, but I don't see how that's difficult, because
it's not the easiest thing. Some people know that the guy's not good for them, but it could be a soul tie, it could be anything that's just keeping them bound to them. So how do you block them out?
No, but it's not like how do you break up or how do you get them, it's just how do you block them out, as in how do you prevent them from coming in the first place.
Okay, so I would have thought, or I think that one of the ways that you can actually block men that you know are not.
Let's not leave it with men, like both male and female.
The question is men, that's what I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I think you attract your kind, or you attract who you are.
I guess so.
So if you're constantly attracting men that are not good for you, men that are not of good value, and if it's a pattern, because of course you can still be a very high value adding woman, and you still have like occasional men who are quite unserious that will come your way. But if it's a pattern, then you want to start looking at yourself and ask yourself, what is it about me that attracts these kind of women? These kind of men. Because if you're living a certain way, you portray yourself a certain way, your appearance is very inviting, very come get me. Of course, any thirsty man.
Okay, not inviting in a bad way. Being like approachable is fine.
Yeah, I mean your physical appearance.
Okay.
So the way you dress, the way you portray yourself, like your physical appearance, because some people's dressing is provocative. So if you're dressing,
you mean like okay,
I mean the way you dress up, basically.
Cool.
So if you're presenting yourself that way, men are just wired to want these kind of things. So they would be
the wrong men.
Generally men are attracted to women, but it's a level-headed man that knows that, okay, even actually it's a good man that would not be attracted to that, because
that's what I was thinking.
They know that
a good man will be like, no.
Yeah,
that's
you're
if I get married to her and she's gonna dress like that,
she's gonna invite every other man, because they know the nature of men and they know that a natural man will want that.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't put themselves in a position where every other man wants to be with their woman. So I think just look at yourself. Even the way you speak, if you're not speaking with grace, with class, with eloquence, you're more likely going to attract the the kind of guys that, would just roll with your vibe.
Yeah.
So you really do attract your kind, and even with also the way you perceive yourself, when you see yourself ultimately the way God sees you, you carry yourself a certain way because you're royalty. And royalty has protocols. Royalty has like defining characteristics. They don't handle themselves anyhow. So I'm not putting all the blame on you if it sounds like that, but I'm saying it's a very good check and a very good first approach to ward off men who are of no value to you.
Yeah, I think the blocking off, if you want to block off some men, I think it's about, again, like you mentioned, it's a mindset for yourself.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you need to reevaluate and check do you like the attention kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, some people are like, oh, they're finding it difficult. If it's a stage where it's like, I'm finding it difficult to block men off because I kind of like the attention.
Yeah.
Then maybe you need to check out yourself and your heart and what you're looking at and how you're feeling
and
what
why you
makes
want the attention.
what makes you want the attention. The fact that she's saying that it's harder said than done. I don't know if it's on her side or on their side, but if it's their side, then obviously the way you portray yourself is very important.
Yeah.
But if it's on your own side, then you also need to look inwardly and say, okay, cool, like, why am I seeking attention from people who I know add no value to me?
Yeah.
Why am I finding it so difficult to block? So, because it can be an addiction. It can be an addiction. Attention can be such an addiction. I mean, look at social media and everything that's happening right now.
And it's
People
rooted in a lot of
attention.
things. I think it's rooted. I don't want to go too deeply into it, but it's rooted in a lot of foundational things, which could be your upbringing, the presence or the lack of good role models, and even the lack of love, pure love, in your life. So there's so many things to think about and to address, but I think mainly these would be some of the things that we would say have a look at. And that brings us into our conversation today.
Yep.
Today's is going to be pretty much a conversation, and this is probably a long overdue conversation. This is a conversation that we probably should have started our podcast with, but I just
Really? Have we?
because usually people would do like a practical intro.
Okay, fair enough.
But what I realized is we've given bits and pieces of our story without really bringing people in on the journey. So for those who knew us,
Is that all going to fit into one podcast?
I don't know, maybe we'll do 2 episodes. We'll see how it
Fair
goes.
enough.
But we're just doing this also as a guide for finding your partner, finding your soulmate. But basically today we're talking about how God brought us together. Many of you would know some of the details, may not know if you're new on here. So we just thought we'll bring you guys in and talk about how God brought us together.
And how we knew that it was God that brought us together as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, some people are in relationships and they're just like, gosh.
Yeah.
Like, what is this stress?
You know you made the decision yourself because God wasn't involved.
But with us, with us, I can say confidently. I was going to say with me, but with us, I can say confidently that we know.
It's a match made in heaven.
We know that God
has a hand in this.
God had a plan.
Yeah. Should I go first?
No, you start.
No, it makes sense for you to start.
No, because every time I start, then you always try to correct me in my things that I'm doing. So I want to do the other way around, where you start and I correct you.
Just go ahead, because you know I said go ahead. Just go ahead.
Okay, cool. So, when we were younger, I always liked you. I told you that already. You know that.
Like, how did we first meet?
I don't remember.
But that's what I'm saying. They don't know that.
No, but we've always known each other.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Listen.
Okay, I guess that's why you're saying I should start. So let's just start.
Our parents are best friends, right?
Yeah.
Her mum and my mum, they're up to now. They still talk and they still like. They're best friends.
Yeah.
And I was born in April, and her mum was holding me whilst she was pregnant with her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think she has a picture of her being pregnant with me while she was carrying
Yeah, she sent
you.
it to me.
Oh, she sent it to you?
Yeah,
I want to see that.
Yeah, I got it on my phone. So, for people to ask, how did we first meet? You've always just been there.
Yeah, we've always known each other.
Yeah, it's like, how did you meet your twin brother? It's like, they've always just been there. You were there. Mm-hmm. So I was born in April and you were born in December. And like I don't. It's difficult to answer. How did you meet? But we've always known each other. We've always grown up together. We went to the same church. Of course. We went to the same church, and I think we used to just see each other once a week at least. Yeah. And once in a while when our parents are visiting and stuff like that, we go see each other's houses and stuff. Funny enough, I don't actually remember coming to your house that much.
No, I used to come to your house more often, and that was because my oldest brother lived with you for some time. So he at a point I used to think he was your brother and not my brother.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it was when he was in junior high school. That's when he came back to our house, and I was like, "Oh, that's my brother." But I don't know. He just wasn't living with us for But anyway, I don't know the details of that. Maybe I have to go and ask.
Yeah, actually, that is a good question.
I need to go and ask why he was living with you guys.
But I remember he was really, really close with me, and I remember him teaching me how to play table tennis.
Yeah.
And I was young, and I obviously I can't hit the bat properly and stuff like that. And it was, the ball properly, and he was frustrated. I remember he was so angry.
Yeah.
He was like, like he wants someone his age to play with, but he didn't have it. He had to make do with me. But
so I think that was the reason why I used to come to your house a lot, because
to see him,
not to see him, but because my family was over at yours.
Yeah.
I used to come around yours quite a bit. And then I think in 2000, was it 2000? Well, in a certain year, your dad was sent to.
It wasn't 2000. It was 1990 something.
Okay.
Because I came to the UK in 99.
Okay, so basically, your dad was sent over to the UK.
Yeah.
To come and start the branch of our church, Victory Bible Church International, in Europe.
Yeah.
So he was sent over, and because of that, you guys had to move over. And I think you guys stayed here in the UK for quite a number of years, maybe about 5-6 years before your first. I don't remember the details, but you guys basically moved back. You moved here to the UK.
Yeah, 99.
And then as a family, you came to Ghana. That was your first family trip.
I think I was aged
Ghana.
16.
And that's
by
about
that time.
when you were about 16, because you moved here when you were 9.
Yeah.
And then about 16, you came back to Ghana, and I think
it was like the whole passport thing, settling and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think after we got our passport, then we thought, okay, cool.
Yeah. And then I think it was on that first visit that I was like, oh, I remember this guy. I remember these people. So it was more or less like all the pastor's kids.
16.
Yeah.
At 16.
Yeah.
I remember. I knew who you were at 16.
Yeah, but because I'd been in my home environment for a long time. It's easier when you're away and then
remembering people from home. Being at home,
being at home and
away.
people going is like out of sight, out of mind. Do you know what I mean? So it was when you guys.
It was a long time though, 9 to 16. That was a long time.
Yeah.
And you were probably 15 by that time.
Yeah.
No, because I came in December.
I don't remember the age.
I came around roughly in December.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was about that time, and then
Do you know how I know it was December?
Oh my gosh.
Do you know how I remember it was December? Because
it was around Christmas time. We went to there were lots of things happening in Ghana.
Yes.
Christmas.
But also
wasn't Christmas,
New Year's.
Oh yeah, New Year's. Yeah, you stayed for New Year's. Yeah, I remember that one.
And I remember we sat next to each other for New Year's.
Yeah.
And then
I don't remember the details of all of that. You had all of that in your mind.
I remember so much. I remember the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my shirt. I think you were wearing my shirt on New Year's.
I don't remember that.
It was like a blue and white checked shirt.
No, that wasn't New Year's. That was when you came to my uni.
No, there was a different blue and white checked shirt.
Okay. Anywho, back from
you start. You
not
go
the
for it.
details, but so basically, it was around that time that I realized that you, for lack of a better expression, you still existed. So we we started talking again, and I think from that trip, but it was a quite young love, puppy love, whatever. It's like, I like you, you like me, and then you had to leave and
of course, yeah.
and go back to the UK with your family. So at that time, that was when we figured, okay, maybe there's something in there. We had feelings for each other. So we did somehow continue the communication.
Yeah.
When you went to back to the UK.
Yeah.
And I just want to place a little emphasis on this part of our journey, because for many people, they might think, once God starts something, then it happens instantly. But looking back in hindsight, there is something really critical about God's timing.
Yeah.
Because I can definitely say that even though we had developed some kind of emotions towards each other at 16, it was not the right time for us to be in a relationship. So it was good that we didn't even officially commit to each other. We just expressed our emotions, but there was nothing official to it. Because I think apart from it not being the right time, it would have ruined a lot of things for us. Because we're also quite immature, more so to handle a long distance relationship. So that in itself was very, like, that in itself shows that there was God in it, in the fact that his timing
100%.
was very much involved. So I don't remember what happened in between.
So we came back to, I came back to the UK, and we kept in touch for a while. We're still talking, still on the phone once in a while. This was before the times of like WhatsApp or anything like that.
How did we used to talk? Was it Facebook Messenger?
Facebook was one kind. There was also
Did we and Skype? We used to do Skype. No.
Skype was later on. Skype was just before FaceTime.
Yeah, but we used to speak on Skype. No.
Skype was just before FaceTime, and FaceTime came in like later. So FaceTime was the way we started actually video calling. Yeah,
so
but
the ways that
we used to talk
16?
was text messages, and MSN Messenger.
I don't remember that, but yeah.
So those are the main two ways we used to talk, and also I used to buy phone cards and have conversations with you.
Yeah, but I remember Facebook quite well.
Yeah, Facebook was.
I think Facebook was probably the main
MSN,
one.
Then it was Facebook.
Yeah.
Because MSN, the downfall for MSN was that we had to be on together to have a conversation, but Facebook could just send you a message and then wait for a reply. So then first it was MSN and then it was Facebook. And as time went on, rumors were going around that, she's seeing someone. I was like, I haven't heard anything like that. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I think 1 or 2 people told me. I was like, all right, cool. Like, it makes sense. Like, slowly, we were slowly distancing. We were talking a little bit less. I'm not blaming you.
Just put that disclaimer there because you're making it sound like it was my fault.
What? How did I make it sound? I just said
I'm
we.
just saying. I'm just saying.
Anyway, so things were distancing. We weren't talking as often as we used to. And then one day, Facebook comes up and then let me check how she's doing. And she just replied to some of my messages or something. And she's got a picture of another guy on her Facebook. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, then that's it. Because I thought, I liked her so much that I thought, okay, cool. There's no way that anyone is going to date her and let that go. Do you know what I mean? So I thought, okay, cool. Like, that's it. She's getting married. This is it. Get everything out of your mind. And I think that's when I started dating other people as well. Yeah. After that happened, that's when I thought, okay, cool. Just let this one go. Some other people showed interests, and I don't know if I can't go into too much details. Other people's private lives. Yeah. but so we started dating other people. And on your side, how did that go?
I mean, at that time, I was in school, so by then I had gone to uni, and so of course I was in uni, and I had been in a relationship. Yep. And you know what? I had been in a situationship before that relationship, and then
really,
we'll talk about that later. And then
I'm so interested. I've never heard
that. You know what it is. I just can't put people's business.
Yeah. No.
Yes. So, but when I went to uni was like my escape from all of that jazz, and I just wanted like a fresh start. And I just wanted a new life. So when I went to uni, I met someone. And of course, I knew for a fact that there was no way I was going to be with someone who wasn't Christian. So, I mean, this person I was with was very spiritual. You know, we're both Christian, serving God on campus. So it really did seem like the perfect match. Like there was no way anything could go wrong with this relationship because we're both doing the will of God. We're both serving God. We're both, so I didn't think like what could possibly not make this, work. And we even had like plans, ministry plans after life. After uni. So I would never think that God will not approve such a relationship, because in my mind, this surely must be in his will. But it just goes to show, and I can't even give details of timelines, but let's say the whole time I was in uni, there just seemed to be something going on in terms of like the relationship. But it just goes to show how you could see things in your natural eye and in your natural mind, and it just makes perfect sense. And because of what it looks like outwardly, you expect God to approve it. And I think that's a very good guide for most people in relationships when it comes to, is this God? Because I think a lot of people ask the big question, like, how do I know this is the person that God wants for me? And I've always said one of the prayers that I had always been praying, and I still yet pray, is, God, let your will be done in my life. I think being in the will of God is the safest place to be. Being in the will of God is the most fruitful place you can ever be. And in spite of what feels good and what looks good and what men approve of, if it's not in the... A lot of people actually are living in the permissible will of God and not in the perfect will of God. And it's been my desire to always be in the perfect will of God, because that's where I'm safe and secure in him. That's where my destiny flourishes, because it's according to like his divine plan for my life. So it took a while for me to let that situation go. And it took a lot of prayer. Ladies, if you want the tips, message me privately. But when I say it took a lot of prayer, because before physically releasing the person, I had to first mentally, emotionally, and also spiritually, release them and let them go. So I just came to the place where I knew that, okay, this is not God's will for my life. God's will for my life would bring me a lot of peace, joy. And if I'm not fully experiencing that, then maybe that's not where he wants me to be. So it was at the end of uni that I let that relationship go. And I don't know how you found me or we started talking. Did I reach out to you or you reached out to me? I'm starting to think maybe I reached out to you or you did.
I don't remember.
I'm really starting to think I reached out to you.
No, I think you did.
Yeah.
I think you did.
I don't even know what made me do that.
I don't know if you were interested or anything.
No, I
think it was
didn't do
just
it
like,
out of
just
interest.
saying, hey,
I just
like,
did it
how you
out
doing?
of, let me check up on you, because mind you, I also told you that after that long 4-year relationship / situation, I spoke to somebody else. I was speaking to someone else as well. So it wasn't, I reached out to you not out of, let me see if he still likes me type of situation. But I genuinely was checking up on you to see, okay, like, how are you doing? Because I was talking to someone else at the time. And I remember you brought me into your life's journey, where you had been and things that had happened with you and your relationship. Yeah.
It was very interesting. Because it's like, okay, I've moved on, everything's fine. Like, I've settled in my mind that, okay, cool. Like, I don't think I even knew that you had broken up.
Yeah, I didn't even mention that to you. I don't think he disclosed that either.
But it was just a thing of, okay, cool. Like, she's just saying hi. She's just being cool. I was in my own relationship. And we were just catching up, and it wasn't a big deal or anything like that. However, my relationship didn't work out in the end. Yeah. Even though we were okay in terms of like our unspiritual goals and all of these other things, but our spiritual goals were very different. Yeah. And after a while, it seemed to take a toll. When we were in different places, communication wasn't the best, and so on and so forth. And it took a toll on on both of us, and we both made mistakes. And
okay, so I want to ask, like, what maybe just so that our journey also helps other people.
Yeah.
What is it that made you decide that, okay, this is not the relationship for me, in spite of all the many things that had happened in the in-between and had led to the relationship failing? But what was the driver, or what was the trigger for you to say, okay, maybe this relationship, it's not the relationship I should be in?
After we broke up, I inquired with someone. I was like, oh, like, how's she doing? Just to see how she was doing, and they were just like, yeah, you know, she's not going to church anymore. She's not as active as she used to be. We need you to come. Like, it was a family member on her side. Yeah, it was so much better when you were there. We need you to come back, and so on and so forth. And then it just made me realize that maybe those things were done because of me.
You were with the person.
Exactly, rather than for themselves. Then it hit me that, like, you can't keep
pulling someone along.
And I know it sounds bad, but, you know, having to call your partner and just be like, did you go to church today? It's not becoming of someone who aspires to great
genuinely
things
have
spiritually,
that relationship,
you know. So it having that outside point of view and looking at it from the outside kind of just helped me, and thought, okay, cool, maybe it's better now than in the future when we're married, and then it's more of a, I don't want to go to church, and then our children are born, and it's like, yeah, I want to stay home with mom, and, like, do you know what I mean? It's just this whole thing that I wanted to avoid. So I will always say, and I always let people know that when it comes to relationships, always have an external point of view. Always have someone who is helping you, who is guiding you, who is encouraging you, or discouraging certain things, who can see it from an external point of view and encourage you and say, okay, cool, you're going the right way, or you're going the wrong way, stop. Yeah, you know, it's always helpful.
Yeah. And whilst you were speaking, one of the things that was really highlighted to me is a lot of people that are in Christian, or a lot of people that have built good relationships with God and are not in such a great place when it comes to their relationship, are just living in some kind of a mismatch with their desires and where they're at.
Yeah.
And what I really mean is, so sometimes you're building a relationship with God and you're telling God all of these things. I want to love you. I want to serve you. I want to be with you. God, take me to the place that you want me to be. And you don't even realize that the person that you're with is not equally yoked with you. And God is really answering your prayers. So your relationship might be falling apart, and you don't even realize that it's falling apart because of the prayers that you're praying to God and all the things that you're telling God, and He is aligning you, and things that are also not well aligned with where He's taking you and where He wants you to be are falling apart. And then sometimes it's like, for the fear of losing the person, we go back and we're like, oh God, but bring the person along. Oh God, let's fix this relationship. Let the relationship work. But I think I just want to highlight that when you're praying certain prayers and you're praying and asking God to bring the right person your way, if you're with the wrong person, it's going to fall apart. Yeah. And you have to allow that to take its course instead of forcing what God is pulling apart, because that is really what gets a lot of people into that place of frustration, confusion, and also ultimately making the wrong choice. Yeah. So I think at this point, when we started talking again, from that time that we reached out to each other, we started talking as friends. Yeah. And at this point, we weren't even speaking after like our both long-term failed relationships. We were really speaking as friends. Like, of course, I knew that you liked me like a few years ago, and I knew that I liked you as well, but there were like no heightened sparks or anything like that. And we spoke as friends for quite a while, maybe up to about a year.
Really?
Yeah, because this was after uni.
Yeah, it's true.
This was after uni, and we spoke for about a year. But this is, and even at this point, we weren't even speaking like every single day. It wasn't only up until leading up to when you said you were going to come to Ghana. You said you were going to come to Ghana And towards your trip to Ghana, that's when we started speaking a lot more frequently, like every single,
it's like, oh, well, okay,
every single day. And
real.
of course it set the anticipation, because like, oh yeah, I haven't seen you in a long time. It would be nice to see you. And I wasn't sure how, like in my mind, I knew that when you came to Ghana, if it was going to progress into anything, we would like officially be like boyfriend and girlfriend or beloveds. Like, you know what I mean? Because we had genuinely been friends. But I think you said that you were in a different space where you wanted to settle.
Yeah. So when I came to Ghana, it was more of a let's sense the vibe.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes. Let's see if she feels the same way as I feel. Let's see if we're able to flow, if we're able to go through, if we're forcing it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people force it because you feel like you have to do it or you have to be at a certain age or whatever it is. So it was more of a let's see the vibe, let's see how she's feeling, let's see if she's in my space or, you know, in my zone and my mindset. So after a while, when we went to Ghana, we flew to Ghana, and it was so natural. Yeah. It was so natural. Like I think I came to Accra and then I came to Kumasi because you were at uni for something. Yeah. And it was just so natural. It actually really surprised me that, you know, you'd think that would be a little bit awkward, the phone calls to seeing each other face to face. It was as if I had just gone away for a little bit and come back. Yeah. It wasn't even like, I don't even think, did you even hug me to say like hi or anything?
Nothing.
Like,
I never hugged you. It was just like my friend had come back and I was like, oh yeah, nice to see you.
And I think the first indication that, okay, cool, she's feeling it was we were in your friend's room and we were all talking together, three of us. Yeah. And as we were walking out, hi Michael, as we were walking out, you reached out and you held my hand and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Then maybe it's not awkward. Maybe she's actually feeling a little something. So yeah, I think from then, that the trip there, to be honest, it was one of my favorite trips. Yeah. To Ghana, because it was just, I don't remember anything negative happening. I don't remember any
arguments or fights or disagreements.
I wouldn't expect any argument.
To be honest, we never argued. Yeah. Never. Well, unless we had like one major situation. Yeah, but which we squashed over the phone. But it wasn't an argument. It was just ironing out things. But generally in our friendship, we never had arguments, disagreements. Yeah, we
never went back and forth or anything like that.
We never did that. Never ever did that. So it did feel quite like a safe space, and I think it was from that trip that you sort of had made up your mind to say knowing yes. That okay, cool. I think I like her. And at that point, I think for me as well, it's like, okay, I think he's a decent guy, he's a good guy, and let's see what happens from here.
And it was from then until okay, cool, let's get married was quite quick. We've gone over time, but we're gonna actually have to continue this maybe in the next episode. But from then, it was just when from that time till the will you marry me was quite quick, because I went back to the UK and we were speaking all the time, but I think this time we were speaking intentionally with the mindset of I want to marry her, you know, and we want to be together very, not like in a few years time, but we will get married soon. So all our conversations were very intentional. I think we started talking more about, you know, our visions of marriage. Yeah. Our visions of what a man should be, what a woman should do. Yeah. Our roles. We started talking about our past relationships. Yeah. What we need to heal from. Yeah. Mistakes that we made and
what actually happened.
Exactly.
Where we
so
could
we started
fix
going
things,
into more detail, starting to learn more about each other in terms of us being together. Yeah. You know, how many kids. Who want together even
in terms of our ministry, like how we saw ourselves serving
because we've both just been ordained at that time as well.
Yeah, you had been ordained at Pastor, I had been ordained as well.
We were both like just even I think we even spoke about sex, but not in like a insinuating kind of thing way.
Yeah.
But we spoke about like the importance of it.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is?
Yeah.
You know, like
just viewpoint. What do you
like
think
what's
about
your view?
yeah.
Like how active are
and
you in
we
general?
we actually did have those conversations because we knew that we had set boundaries for our relationship.
Yeah.
And we knew that it was a conversation to be had so that no one was caught off guard by any natural attempt, which 100%. Is like, of course, I like you, so I'll be physically and sexually attracted to you. But we had that conversation just so we could set the stage and make it very clear between both of us that, you know, this is a no-go area and this is things that we're
these
gonna
are the standards that we're hitting
and not gonna do. So we had those conversations right from the start. Some people would say because we were in a long-distance relationship, it helped us not to have sex before marriage. But I think it's even more tricky in a long-distance relationship because when you've had so much conversation for a very long time, when you see the person, all of your emotions are heightened.
And there's two sides to there is the aspect of talking too much about sex. There's the aspect of talking too much about it, like you're just always every night
when you talk about it, it's gonna stir up emotions. But
then there's the aspect of where people don't talk about it at all, and then when it gets to marriage, then all of a sudden you're either disappointed or you find out you're in different places altogether. So like we had that conversation, we had that talk, and we also like just discussed, okay, cool, like we just needed to know where we are, like together as a team. Like we need to know where we are. If there's any place where we disagree, is there something that we can compromise, or if it's not, then is it worth pursuing this? Before I even said I do it anyway. But after a while we realized that, okay, cool, and this is it, this is really it, this is legit. The next trip I came to Ghana, I asked you to marry me, and ever since then it's just been forward. I mean, there has been the little things in between, you know, but maybe we'll discuss that one later on. But
so really and truly, it was just really I remember at the time when you asked me to marry you and all of that, that's in the recent trip that we had. We also had to like really iron out, make sure that all doors and all chapters to our previous lives were like shut, like clearly shut, because we knew that this was a journey that we were going on and there was no looking back. And we didn't also want to open it up for, you know, confusion. You know, sometimes people are getting married and then there's these past exes that come out of nowhere, try to stir up drama and all of that. So we were intentional about making sure that all doors were really shut and closed, and we had the blessing of our parents, of our spiritual parents, to move forward in marriage. So ultimately, I would definitely say that God had a big hand in this, and I know the reason for us coming together. There's so much purpose to it, and that's how we even know that it's God ordained. Looking at where we came from, the involvement of our parents, the role that we play in our churches.
I think it was about being intentional, about having that goal and saying, okay, cool, this is what we want. So all the questions that we asked, everything that we wanted to do was about being very, very intentional.
And the ministry that God had gifted us with, and, you know, the call of God on our lives and all of that. So I guess ultimately in finding your partner and finding your soulmate, there is a lot that has to do with purpose. And if it's just because you two just found each other, you like each other and you're just vibing along, when all of those sparks, all of those emotions are gone and there's no purpose, there's no, like, you guys are not working towards something together as one. Marriage is wired in such a way that emotions will come and go. And when there's no purpose and the emotions leave, you have nothing to live for together. And that is one of the things that makes people just separate, because they have no drive and no vision. So this is our journey. this is how God brought us together, and hopefully this has given you some kind of guide, insight into finding your partner and making the right choices for your relationship. So I hope you were blessed by this. If you have any questions, as always, be free to send it to us at Kobe Says on Instagram and at Alberto Ricciani on Instagram.
100%.
And we will catch you guys in the next episode. God bless you.
Take care,
and
guys.
have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.